Ryan couldn't remember the last time he celebrated his own progress. Every morning, before he even got out of bed, he opened his phone. One friend had bought a new car. Another had landed a dream job. Someone else was traveling the world, smiling in pictures that looked perfect. With every scroll, Ryan felt smaller. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't untalented. Yet somehow everyone else seemed to be winning while he stood still. The worst part wasn't that his friends were successful. The worst part was that he believed their success proved his failure. What Ryan discovered months later would completely change the way he looked at life, and it might change yours too. Ryan was 26 years old. He had a decent job, a loving family, and good health. Years earlier, he had dreamed of having exactly these things, but instead of appreciating what he had, he only noticed what he lacked. Whenever his friends achieved something, he felt left behind. When Michael became a manager, Ryan felt like a failure. When Ethan bought a beautiful house, Ryan wondered why he still rented a small apartment. When Liam announced his engagement, Ryan questioned whether he was falling behind in life. Slowly, comparison became a habit. Then it became an obsession. Instead of improving himself, Ryan spent hours watching other people's lives. He stopped reading books. He stopped exercising. He stopped learning new skills. He simply watched everyone else move forward while convincing himself he never would. He smiled whenever his friends shared good news, but inside, he was breaking. Months passed. Ryan's confidence disappeared. He stopped applying for better jobs because he assumed someone else was more qualified. He avoided family gatherings because people always asked the same question. So Ryan, what's new? He hated that question. Nothing felt new. Nothing felt exciting. His parents noticed the sadness in his eyes. His mother gently asked, "Are you okay?" Ryan forced a smile. "I'm fine," but he wasn't. One evening he attended a reunion with old classmates. Everyone seemed successful. One had started a business. Another owned multiple properties. Someone else had become a popular entrepreneur. Ryan spent the entire evening pretending to enjoy himself. On the drive home, he whispered, "I'm never going to be enough." For the first time in his life, he actually believed it. The next weekend, Ryan visited his grandfather. His grandfather had lived a simple life. He never became rich. He never became famous. Yet everyone who met him described him as peaceful. The old man looked at Ryan for a long moment before asking, "What burden are you carrying?" Ryan couldn't hold it in anymore. "I feel like everyone is ahead of me." His grandfather smiled softly. "I've heard those words before." Then he pointed toward the garden. Behind the house, there stood roses, bamboo, sunflowers, mango trees, and tiny herbs. "Tell me," his grandfather asked, "which one is the greatest?" Ryan looked around. "They're all different." "Exactly." The old man sat beside him. "Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a young bamboo shoot grew beside a mighty oak tree. Every day the bamboo looked at the oak. "Look how tall you are. Look how strong you are. I'll never become like you." The oak simply smiled. Seasons passed. The bamboo became frustrated. "Why am I growing so slowly?" One day, a gardener overheard the bamboo complaining. He laughed gently. "Little bamboo, you aren't growing slowly. You're growing differently. The oak was built to spread wide. You were built to reach the sky." Years later, storms arrived. Many giant trees broke under the powerful winds, but the bamboo bent and survived. The gardener whispered, "The greatest mistake isn't growing slowly. It's forgetting what you were created to become." Ryan sat silently. His grandfather looked into his eyes and said, "Comparison steals joy because it makes you judge your chapter 2 against someone else's chapter 20. Then he added one final sentence Ryan would never forget. "Water your own garden, and you'll stop counting someone else's flowers." That night Ryan couldn't sleep. He replayed those words again and again. He realized something painful. His friends had never made him feel inferior. He had done that to himself. Instead of building his future, he had been measuring it. The next morning, he deleted several social media apps. He bought a notebook. On the first page, he wrote, "Become better than yesterday, Not better than Michael. Not better than Ethan. Not better than Liam. Just better than yesterday. At first, the changes were small. He read 10 pages every morning. Exercised for 20 minutes. He learned a new professional skill every evening. Some days he failed. Some days he skipped his routine. But instead of quitting, he started again. Weeks became months. Months became a year. The quiet confidence he once lacked slowly returned. People noticed. "You've changed," his co-workers said. Ryan simply smiled. For the first time in years, he finally believed in himself. A year later, Ryan applied for a management position. Ironically, one of his closest friends was competing for the same role. The old Ryan would have panicked. He would have assumed defeat before the interview even began. But this time was different. He remembered the bamboo. He remembered the garden. He remembered his grandfather's words. He walked into the interview, focused on one thing, not beating someone else, showing who he had become. Weeks later, the company announced the results. Ryan got the promotion. His friend congratulated him with genuine happiness. Ryan congratulated him for earning another opportunity elsewhere. There was no jealousy, no bitterness, only gratitude, because Ryan had finally learned that success isn't a race against others. It's a journey toward becoming the person you were meant to be. Years later, Ryan often returned to his grandfather's garden. The roses still bloomed. The bamboo still reached higher every year. The mango tree still produced fruit in its own season. Nothing in that garden competed. Everything simply grew according to its nature. Ryan finally understood peace doesn't come from having more than everyone else. It comes from appreciating your own path. The moment you stop comparing your life to someone else's, you begin to notice your own blessings, your own progress, and your own purpose. Remember this: someone will always have more money. Someone will always be more talented. Someone will always be further ahead. But no one can walk your journey better than you. So stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler. Plant your dreams. Water your habits. Trust your season. And keep growing. Because the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. If this story inspired you, remember that your future isn't decided by your past. It's shaped by the choices you make today. Stop comparing, start growing, and become the best version of yourself. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing motivational stories.